One of my very bright correspondents is Viv, who wrote to me yesterday and said, and I quote, Australia's new ALP government has gigantic green energy plans to be funded by electricity consumers and taxpayers. The government promises with a straight face that Australia's electricity will be 82% renewable by 2030. They predict a 43% reduction in emissions and, quote, on track for net zero by 2050. As he says, they threaten to litter the landscape with 400 community batteries, 85 solar banks, and a $20 billion expansion of the electricity grid. He says this gigantic green electricity plan will need at least 150 million Chinese solar panels covering outback kingdoms of land, plus thousands of bird-slicing, metal-hungry wind turbines, plus never-ending roads and power lines not friendly to grass or trees, and with no room for native birds, bees, bats or marsupials. Not green at all, writes Viv. He writes that with enthusiastic support in the new parliament for climatists, net zeros, teals and greens, but very few engineers, he says, quote, we can expect a disorderly rush to plaster a massive electrical machinery and appliances all over the face of Australia. They'll also promote more demand for electricity, for electric cars, many seeking overnight charging, despite having zero solar power and intermittent wind power at night. So he says, we'll need giant fire-prone batteries to recharge small fire-prone batteries. When there's no sun, on a single solar panel for 12 hours, no one notices. When all wind turbines sit idle under a slow-moving winter high, no one cares. But when one ageing, under-maintained coal plant falters, we notice. When 3 coal generators fail, we have a power crisis. Yet we've got green millionaires urging quicker closure of our few remaining 24/7 coal-powered generators. The ALP Green Teal plan will clutter the countryside with solar panels, wind turbines, transmission lines, access roads, some bitumen, giant batteries and fire-prone national parks. Eastern Australia, he writes, recently had several very windy days, which caused many blackouts as trees and power lines were blown down. Imagine the outages and repair costs after a cyclone slices through this continent-wide spider web of fragile power lines connecting millions of wind and solar generators, fire-prone batteries and diverse markets. He says, picture the green energy network after the next big flood or bushfire. Europeans, he writes sensibly, can pretend to run a modern society with intermittent energy from windmills and sunbeams because they have lifelines to reliable energy from French nuclear, Scandinavian hydro, Polish and German coal, Iceland geothermal, North Sea natural gas, and sometimes Russian gas, oil and coal. Australia, he writes, has no extension cord to neighbours with reliable energy. We are on our own. We can have renewable energy or reliable energy, but not both. Unquote. One of my viewers, Viv. We thank the Lord and any other deity that we still have sensible people who'd buy and sell the intellectual quotient of those in Parliament who are taking us towards a major economic disaster, if we're not there already.